Good morning, everyone. My name is Adrienne Wooten. I'm a councilwoman in the city of Orange Township. Can you hear me without the mic? And welcome to Coffee and Conversations. It's an initiative that I started because I wanted to be able to talk to the residents about their issues or their concerns in the city of Orange Township. I wanted you to be able to come out and speak to various people and say anything and everything that you want to say about the town. I wanted you to get answers about the town. I wanted to show you that I'm all about the people, so that's why every month I invite the people for a conversation with me, and sometimes I have guests. So today I have our business administrator, Mr. Christopher Hartwyk, with us. And he was at another meeting, which was really a really good meeting. He got a lot of things done. He was standing on his phone texting various people, and I could envision in my head cars moving around the city of Orange Township doing what they need to do. Then, on the other hand, I want to introduce someone to you that you all know. He is someone that's in and out of the schools. He disrupts the classrooms, makes the kids scream. He is on the basketball field, the football field. But seriously, when it comes to getting things done for Orange, he is in Washington, D.C. He dealt with President Obama's cabinet. He is in Trenton for us. He is someone who generally loves the city of Orange Township. So that's our mayor, Mayor Dwayne D. Warren, Esquire. So I'm going to pass the mic, and we're just going to be passing it around. But first, I'd like to thank the owner of this establishment. You know, normally we're in the coffee shop, but today I thought we would do coffee and conversations with a kick. So I have Anthony of Forest City Brewing. You need to come out and check him out. He is a phenomenal rapper, if you didn't know. He has all kinds of entertainment here. We have, like tonight, we have live reggae music here, a band, so he is phenomenal. I'm going to give the mic to the mayor so he can introduce Anthony to the crowd.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Coffee and Conversations, a concept from Councilwoman Wooten, Thought It Not Robbery, to come out on a Saturday and to make sure that we have discussions about issues that affect our city. So I want to thank her for that. Of course, Chris Hartwyk, our business administrator, does not sleep, does not take a day off, and we don't pay him that much. So what a great combination that we get. But today we are in Forest City Brewery. I'm sitting in my office a couple of years ago, and a couple of gentlemen came in and said, Mayor, we want to have a brewery in Orange. And I said, we have enough bars, we don't need any more. He said, no, we're going to have custom beer. It's going to be all types of flavors. Even you, Mayor, who is a non-drinker, will have some of our beer. And certainly that is how it happened. They came here, they built it out. It's a phenomenal place. Anthony and his team, not only does he rap, but he's a reggae artist. He has the reggae locks, everything that you need. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony from Forest City Brewery.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Definitely couldn't do it without the help of the council and the city, and you know, it was a long road, you know, trying to get the funds. You know, we have over 20 investors, a super diverse group of people serving a super diverse group of beers for all kinds of people, all kinds of cultures. So we represent all kinds of cultures within the beer. So we got a beer called Wagwan, we got a beer called Forget About It. You know, so we Sac Passe, we have a beer. So yeah, you know, it's a great place. We love the you know, the exposure, you know, the train and everything. Ridership's coming back. We're really excited. All kinds of the you know, the development and everything is great. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Everything's made here. There hasn't been beer in Orange since Rheingold. It's about 40 years. So we first started paying rent in 2018. We opened up August of 19, and here we are through the pandemic, through a bad economy. And yeah, just spread the word. Represent the oranges: Orange, East Orange, West Orange, South Orange, and funny titles of beers: Miseducational, Laurel Hops. Laurel Hops is a kind of hop. Laurel. Then there's Citra, Mosaic, all kinds. But we had to definitely give a nod to Miss Hill. Up the hill in South Orange. So yeah, Hedison, we call him Hedison. It's like Edison. So zero point 0.8 miles from here. I tell people, beer got a head. Thomas Edison, he had that light bulb. It looked like a beer, so we changed it up. Local artists. So really excited about what's to come, and I appreciate everybody coming out. And what's that?
You book for events?
Oh yeah, events. We book private parties in the back, up to about 40 people comfortably back here. And then we rent the whole place out normally when we're closed, so it's not really that often. And again, yeah, Brooklyners. Every other Thursday we have trivia, so it's a fun night. Come out, have a couple beers, do some trivia. Yeah, it's tough. It's a pretty tough trivia. And then here and there we'll have other events. That we always represent the city, or whoever wants to do some kind of things, guitarists or alternative rock bands and stuff like that. Brooklyn is the first Saturday of the month is my favorite. One guy lives in West Orange now. Everybody else from Brooklyn, fun city. So and that's it. Chris Hartwyk, and the website 4citybrewing.com. It's all Four City Brewing, at Four City Brewing, Instagram, Facebook. That's where you can find and engage. Like most of the events and stories are in the posts, Instagram and Facebook. All right, and thank you very much.
All right. You got it. Thank you.
MC.
So, you see we playing pass the mic. So is there anyone in the audience who has a question, or should I, or a concern, or a statement, or should I start this conversation off? So, I'll tell you, as a council person, we receive lots of telephone calls, lots of text messages all the time. We don't care if it's Sunday and you're in church, you receive them. If it's a holiday, you receive them. If you're at a funeral, you receive them. So one of the biggest concerns that people have in the city of Orange Township is parking. Can I park here? Can I not park here? What do I have to do to get a permit? People are blocking my driveway. I thought you were doing a parking authority. So it varies. So my question to the business administrator or the mayor, like, where do you see Orange going in 2023 for parking, with parking? Where?
So the city council did create a parking authority. Part of the creation is about a 6-month period to write a business plan for the parking authority, which includes staffing, budget, scope of responsibility. Much of that is outlined in the ordinance, but not with the level of detail or specifics that are necessary to actually turn the parking assets over to an entity to run them on a day-to-day basis. At this point, one of the main goals of the business plan is to create a completely automated parking system by license plate enforcement, as opposed to having stickers in this area and passes in another area, cards in another area, coins in another area. We're looking at creating a system that's 100% license plate enforced. And that requires the acquisition of certain equipment. It will require the hiring of some enforcement officers and a part-time executive director. We don't think we need a full-time executive director, at least not to begin with. As the parking regulations are revamped and additional regulations are introduced throughout the neighborhoods, which will be designed to afford residents parking as opposed to non-resident parking. We may need to add additional staff, but we'll get to that point when we get there. For the time being, we're going to, in certain areas, we'll be sending out notices for increased enforcement particularly on border streets where we've had a lot of problems with people who are not allowed to park. This is just an example, not allowed to park on the East Orange side of a street. So they come into Orange and they park and take up all the residential spaces for Orange residents. So been working with East Orange on that issue, and we've gotten to the point where we're going to do some more stringent enforcement. Very recently, there's been an issue with driveway blocking. The city has under consideration an ordinance, which is a ticket and tow ordinance. It would be automatic if you're blocking somebody's driveway. You wouldn't just get a ticket, you'd get towed. So there are a few efforts underway that go to people's peace of mind when it comes to parking. Obviously, nobody wants their driveway blocked. There are some other things that we're looking at on a long-term basis in terms of reminding people that they're not supposed to be doing, like parking within 20 feet of a stop sign, within 50 foot of a corner, within 5 feet of a driveway opening, all of those things, within 20 feet of a fire hydrant. It's gotten a little bit lax in terms of the enforcement because parking is at such a premium. People are parking wherever they can find the sliver of a curb. And it's creating some dangerous situations. So we're going to start reinforcing those rules.
In terms of parking, it has become an issue. And if you look around the city of Orange Township, you'll see a number of developments that are happening. And our hope and our desire is that that takes a significant dent into property taxes. So as we develop, we try to offset property taxes. But the parking issue will become and still remain an issue. So just in addition to what Chris has gone over already, the license plate readers that our police department just purchased, ordinarily they're just for if you drive through Orange and your license plate shows you're unregistered or you're unlicensed or the owner of the car is unregistered or unlicensed, you're going to get a ticket in the mail. That's just part of enforcement so that we have people who drive through our city in a more orderly fashion. The other item that we're looking closely at, and we really enforce this on a planning board level for new projects, sometimes we get projects that are built and they'll have parking on site. As the development is completed, they lease out the apartment and then they add an extra charge onto the lease to park. And so we're looking at an ordinance now to restrict landowners from doing that. So from the very planning board stage, before the building is constructed, we're requiring that there be a free space that goes with that apartment unit. It's just, it's tricky because they start at a rent and our ordinance says you can't increase your rent by a certain amount, but they increase their rent by adding on this parking fee. And we're trying to restrict that because it drives people from those parking spaces into the streets to park. So we're requiring that everyone have a free space. The other thing that we're going to do is increase the fines for violations. The state allows us to go up to a certain amount, and we're looking now to go up to the maximum of what the state allows, so as a deterrent to make sure that we don't have over parking or violations of parking, especially where there's driveways, and it's a deterrent for emergency vehicles to get into a street or to get to access a home. So those are the kind of things we want to do to make sure that everyone is in compliance. Based on our master plan, there should be enough parking for the development that we do, but we can't deter people from taking advantage of it by making it more expensive. So we're going to do that by legislation.
Mayor, you want to mention the parking that we got in green?
Right. So the everyone knows about the Lincoln project on Lincoln Avenue and Highland. There's a huge project you'll see going on there. There's a separate project that includes parking only. And that parking facility will be some to accommodate the residents that are in the new development, but the others, they're building and they're giving to the cities for us to regulate and for us to assign to people who need to park and don't have parking already. And we predict that the new parking, just for the city portion alone, we're probably going to remove up to 100 cars off of the streets into spaces that are affordable and nearly without cost. So that's a remedy that we're going to have for that entire area because we're already overrun with parking. And this development, it'll take up its own parking with its own spaces, but the additional is for people who park there now who don't have access to parking. The same will be done for the crane, the crane development that's happening off of Route 280. The same thing there. There'll be spaces to accommodate the development, but then there'll be spaces that the city will operate to make sure that we relieve some of the parking issues in that area as well. But yeah, that one is almost triple what we're doing in Lincoln. That has about 160 spaces, and I think Lincoln has about 60 to 70 spaces. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question about priority in terms of parking, permission, businesses, residents, in regards to some of the new parking that's going up. And I know that, I just want to kind of get some clarification on how much we will be competing with commuters who come in to park into the downtown area to catch the train, and how's that all going to balance out?
Yeah, the question was how much of our existing commercial businesses will have to compete with those who are commuting and they park on our streets? And that's a very good question. Part of our theory in requiring that this Crane Street development happen with parking for the municipality is for us to be able to accommodate those who are commuters so that our open spaces near businesses will stay open. So we do have a significant amount, and that was our priority in doing it, to make sure our businesses aren't crushed, because a lot of times it just seems that when a big customer comes into one of our businesses, that's when our police get the most aggressive in giving tickets. So we're trying to straddle that because I want to make sure that businesses do well as well. So that was part of the thinking in trying to take, and a lot of times commuters, they come at 6 o'clock in the morning and they're all day. So the issue is to take them off of the streets so I can come in, go to your business, get me a cup of coffee, do what I need to do, and be gone and leave that space open for another customer. Yes, sir.
Oh, well, I want to go back to that parking lot.
Yeah.
Because that parking lot is not too far from where I live. That's what because with all the parking, get a lot of garbage to it. It's around the cars. Are we talking right there on the corner of Highland and Lincoln, like the back of where the school new parking lot is? Because there's on the opposite side is where they're building the new complex, or Lincoln, whatever.
Right. The two lots were open at the same time for a very long time. So one is going to have
It's just a
development.
White House right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's where the lot's going.
No, the lot's going right across Highland from the development.
Okay. Okay. Just want to make sure where it is. Okay.
Yeah. And the other lot is the school. We're trying to encourage them to do something better there and to be more efficient. Now it's just a flat surface lot.
Yeah.
I think they can double or triple the amount of cars that they can
The
take.
house, and I saw just one house there, and they ran some trees and stuff, and I didn't know what they were. So I was just trying to curious.
And that house that's in the parking lot, we're trying to encourage them to have a developer. I'm going to not use the mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're trying to have them encourage a developer to come in with students on a type of vocational program to refurbish the house, heating, air conditioning, to be a teaching.
I wanted to still have the aesthetics of people who actually have houses in that area, and it just doesn't look like, the development in a big parking lot. So, okay.
Also, next to the parking lot is a small park that's being created as a buffer between the areas. So,
Okay.
it's not a huge park, but it's a nice
It's
small park
something.
with landscaping around the lot.
Okay. All right.
And about the 1st of February, I'm going to be walking the West Ward, and I'll have explanations on that as well. So you guys participate.
So yes, definitely as well. I just have one question. When you said the parking lot on Lincoln, the building that they're building on Lincoln and Highland, is the parking lot gonna be next to the apartment building where they already have it laid out, or is it gonna be across the street?
Across Highland.
So, but what is right next to the building? That's not a parking lot because it's all flat and tarred out and everything.
That may be part of the underground for the units that are there.
Okay. As well.
All right, this gentleman over here, I was answering a response. Were you talking about the house that's in the middle of the parking lot across from the high school? Is that what your inquiry was?
Well, my first answer was the one that's on the corner, very corner of Lincoln and Highland, which is just a new white house, and not the big one right there where the school's right, but the one across the building from the where they built in the new complex.
Right.
So I was wondering what was over here, what was across the street, which I don't know.
Oh, in my understanding, that one's being torn down, and so is the one next to it.
Yeah, so I didn't know, was that where the big lot going on right there in the corner?
That's where the
Because
parking.
they got the house on sale right next to it.
Right, because there's also a house in the parking lot where the school is.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, that's been there
The
for a while.
Historic Commission, we're hoping that that's gonna be a house that we can make part of the vocational training for the school, to teach the kids plumbing, whatever, and that can be our historical association. So my house won't be the historical association.
It's just, you know, just, I worry about the area a little bit. I ain't gonna talk about the folks.
And I have another thing. It's an article, I'm looking for it now, I can't find it, where the state gave out money to build parking, underground parking and multi-level parking to 45 towns. That happened like 2 months ago, and Orange wasn't on the list. Does anybody know why?
I have to see the article, I don't know.
Okay, I'm fine. I'll find it, send it to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
What, a lot of people are working from home now. What happens when the people in all of these buildings come down, want to go to Main Street and whatnot? They're not underground. They're coming into our town. Where do they park? In Montclair and other places, they have multi-level parking near the downtown area to catch the overflow and whatnot. Do we have such a thing in place?
The Crane Street development will be, the multi-level parking access for people who come to town who are not residents. They come to town to do their business, whatever it is. The multi-level lot on Crane Street is going to accommodate that. Chris, can you also go through the parking lot in back of the stores where Citibank is?
Yeah. So we're also looking at the parking lots behind Main Street that the city owns. Some of those are dual ownership with certain property owners. And we're looking to create a parking master plan for those lots with directional signs and try and get business owners, employees to park in some of those remote lots to free up spaces on Main Street and on the side streets around there. And we're also looking long-term at whether or not we deck one of those lots or two of them. Yeah, well, that decking is definitely an issue that we're looking at. The Crane Street piece is 166 spaces that would be run as daily spaces right next to the train station, right here. And then the Lincoln Avenue project, which is right on the other side of Lincoln, that backs up to Scotland Road, literally a block from here, has another 160 spaces for public use.
I'm concerned with the downtown area.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question. We're speaking about the parking, I guess, on Main Street. So I understand the parking lot that's next to the pizza place, not too far from Mimi's Food Supply. I understand for pizza for the employees of the city park. Okay, I get that. But then after that, like if I want to shop on Sundays, I can't park because the church is taking up all of the parking spaces. So what happens if you want people to shop on the Sunday because the church is going to overflow of all those spots, which I have to go either down further by Day Street or somewhere else to walk back up to the other stores because Sunday that lot is like done until a certain amount of comes.
Yeah, that's the question is the public lot that we have that's right behind Center Pizza,
The
right?
public, the lot that you have, right? There's
That we use for City Hall.
the city, right, from the corner.
And during the day, City Hall people use it.
That's fine.
On Sunday, if I want to shop, the church overflow is using it, and I
Because,
can't
say
use it
if I wanna
for
get
shopping.
in, but I like to get the stores open till 10. Forget about it. It ain't- I have to wait till like after 10 because they're in church. And-
That's the issue we have to look at. That's something we have to look at.
came out December 12th, 2022. New Jersey giving money to 45 municipalities to improve pedestrian and bike and parking. And here's the list. And he gives the list. And we're not on the list. I can send it.
Yeah, send me the
The
article.
article. Because I'm like, we're not on the list? What?
So did everyone get their concerns?
You know, I think we talked about it last time, so we seem to be increasing capacity for more cars. What are we doing on the other side to increase more?
Super duper.
Walkability.
The question is walkability. We're accommodating more cars, but what are we doing for paths to walk to different places? Very good question. We've worked with the Department of Transportation and the Safe Routes to School program that's given us, I think we got about $1.2 million to pave streets, to repair sidewalks, and to stripe where we want to do walking and signage. I think that'll go into effect at the end of the first quarter of the year. And it's going to first start around schools and then go throughout the city.
And because we were one of the first municipalities to be awarded that grant, we're in line to reapply when they re-up the funds. So we should be applying in the end of 23 for another $1 million to $1.5 million.
And that walk path's going to include biking.
Like, that's what this grant is for biking and walking and bicycle thing. And I was like, that's exactly.
Yeah, we got 1.2. Sure you got that article.
So any other questions about parking? I think I'm gonna try to pass the mic, and we just pass the mic to people. Yeah.
Give me the mic, right? This is not in regards to parking, but I just wanted to know, and I might have missed it, but about the roads. I don't know if you addressed the road issues. But one thing is I had to ask, we got Berkeley, Essex, what's it? South Essex Ave, Henry Street, you know, as we all know how bad these streets are. Are there any plans in place to try to smooth the roads out? You know, I've been here for some years and I haven't seen anything, you know, in regards to that. And definitely I know, Mayor, on Berkeley, I know as we're going closer to South Orange Ave, I know how there's the strip where it's extremely bad over there. But then it gets extremely smooth as we get to South Orange. So I mean, is there anything is that a city issue or?
Yeah, it is definitely a city issue. So the question is paving throughout the city, and I wish your question was just to those couple of streets, but I know other people are going to have the same concern. But as to Essex, I think Essex is on the list. This is for the spring. I think Henry is on the list. I don't think Berkeley is on the list, and part of Berkeley's curse is that the mayor lives there, so it's probably going to be the last to be done. So we either move the mayor or we get the street done last. But the Henry and Essex is particularly terrible because it comes off 280 and you just, you know, bumpy ride all the way through. It's the entrance to the city. So I think those two are ready for the spring. I'd have to get back to you on when we're. There are, in Orange, are there city and county roads? There are. Central Avenue is a county road. Scotland Road's a county road. High Street's a county road. Park Avenue and part of Main Street, part is county and part is city. So those, they get done on the county schedule. And the city ones, they're rounds after rounds that we get as we get funds. We put them on a list. And our evaluation process is always getting the worst first. But no matter what street I do, the part in front of the house is going to be the worst one. But the ones that you spoke about are on the list, and they're pretty critically bad.
I just want everyone to know that this is being videotaped, so your questions are going to be looked at again by the mayor and the business administrator and the mayor's administration. So if we don't answer them completely, which we are trying to, for example, you probably want a list of all the roads that are going to be paved, then we'll send that information out to you. So if we get your email address, we could probably list the questions, right? And then list the answers and then send them out to you. So you'll have that in black and white. Okay.
And just so you know, I'm not emailing, I'm taking notes.
Any other
I have a quick question about the kind of snow removal and stuff. One question about the snow removal and I know it's probably like a whose job is it kind of thing, but like the transit village here, this whole parking lot transit. So I'm wondering does transit take care of that, and also under the bridge and the bridge itself, is the bridge owned by New Jersey Transit? Is the parking lot supposed to be maintained by New Jersey Transit and the walkway underneath, like that whole area?
So the overpass, the walkway, the parking lot are all New Jersey Transit properties. The parking lot itself has a management company for New Jersey Transit. They're responsible for the maintenance of the lot, the snow plowing, et cetera. The train trestle and the passage underneath the train trestle is the direct responsibility of transit. I have arguments with them all the time about the overpasses, the lighting, the garbage, along with the railroad right of way, particularly along Scotland Road. But yes, the same with the Highland Station. It's managed by the same company, and they're responsible for the snow removal and maintenance.
Is the whole area underneath the bridge, you're talking days, and to have a thriving transit area, New Jersey Transit has to step up on that, in regards to like just getting people to the train. I mean, that's why the train is there, so people commute, get to work. And with all these businesses, I think that New Jersey Transit really has some work out there because, I mean, you're talking, I think it was like almost a week. I have pictures, February, I believe it was February of last year or the year before, where this woman's walking, she had to go to the street. She has a hard time walking. She's from this building, and for New Jersey Transit to not clear a commuter stairway, and sidewalk to get to that train, that day or the day after a train, after a snowstorm is very significant.
Can we find that?
So that's what I was gonna ask, because I know within 24 hours after storm, the residents, we have to have that sidewalk clear.
They're exempt from local jurisdiction. So I could have the police write them 100 tickets. When they go to municipal court, it'll all be dismissed.
Here.
You good? Yeah, I'll stand up.
I'm sorry, let me just add to that point. And our public works person is here. I usually, even though it's not our responsibility, I usually do try to get transit shoveled by our DPW, just because, yeah, it just makes sense for us to do it. Around schools is not really our responsibility, but I do it just because it makes sense for us to do it. It stretches us. It makes stress on our DPW. It stresses our resources. But I can't explain to you when you're slipping and falling. It's not my responsibility. So we try to get it done anyway, but there's got to be a greater partnership as more people come, as the weather gets worse. We do need some relief, so it is something that we're going to start to do. And New Jersey Transit has announced an Adopt a Station program, and we had 2 organizations sign up, and I think one of them is working with Karen Wells, actually, to be part of the trained cleaning crew for the station. Now, it's a volunteer program, so it'll give us some relief, but we still need boots on the ground for the transit people to come in and do that.
Yeah, I've been fighting New Jersey Transit for the last 30 years. And, trying to get things done. But I think something that we could do that would make us proactive, if you go to other towns, under their train trestles, whatever, they put artwork and did a marketing kind of thing that makes it look that way. People have more respect if it looks like that. Ours just looks ridiculous. And if we, as a town, volunteers, whatever, could, put murals, whatever. When I went to New Jersey Transit, and I said to them, I said, listen, I've got artists that want to paint under the train trestle. And what New Jersey Transit said to me was, go ahead. We don't care. Because under there, and if we could start that initiative just to look better, I mean, to advertise the Valley Arts District, Highland Orange train station. And we got artists in this town, world famous artists right in this town that would love to do that. If we could get our marketing together, it would be so much better. I mean, the marketing of our ministry, let's fake it till we make it. you know, but right now, we just look a mess. Well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna be in the mess with everybody else.
Yeah, because you're gonna be working.
Right.
I
But
did appoint an arts group to help us to formulate the plan. PSCNG is building this huge infrastructure. It looks like it's a department unit, but it's really empty, and it's for PSCNG. And they've granted us the ability to do huge artist panels on each of the four sides of the structure. So we have a committee set to do that, but I can also task them with that. And I think the painting store that's here in town and others would donate if we get the artists to do it.
but I got Washington donate the thing. This was years ago. And we were gonna do Lincoln Avenue to advertise it for the Italian community. But the administration at the time, and that wasn't you, they said, no, we're not gonna let you do that. We should have done it anyway. And I would have, whenever I was a kid. But we just should have.
That part will do. That will do.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It looked good.
It's easy.
People should come from miles around to see our underpass.
They had a whole Tuscany design and everything, and
We agree with that.
yeah, I mean, come on.
We have this
Yeah.
gentleman right here.
Yes, sir.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mayor Warren. My name is Dwayne Wilkins, from the Wilkins Group. And I heard somebody mention about a vocational training, facility that's gonna go up. And I'm interested in that because I'm working with, local and national developers who are very interested in taking stake in that and moving things forward for urban communities. Where can I find more information about that? And if possible, how can we assist?
Definitely can assist. And I'm going to put you in touch with the head of our development, who is going to be working with the Board of Education to try to put this project together. And I bet that when they get together, the missing piece is going to be resources and contractors with experience that we're going to need. I don't want them just to paint and to sweep. I want them to do the hard stuff, the electrical, the plumbing, the trades type of things, so they
Yeah.
can start to get credits to move forward.
Yes, ma'am. So that's what we're focused on. We focus on DEI and J and development of communities from workforce development and business development. Some of my clients own businesses, but then through the businesses, we employ people from the area, get them in skilled trades, get them unionized if necessary, or certified in certain areas, and then deploy them either locally or nationally, because there's money outside that they could bring back as taxpayers of the area. So that's what we're focused on.
Wonderful.
So that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a coach for a living, so I talk
That's right.
loud all the time. So to speak to that, Newark and Philly are on that. So those are great role models to follow in terms of getting our youth prepared to become the next workforce and to become financially independent. I wanted to kind of continue on with the downtown area. A couple of years ago, I think I saw police officers on bicycles.
Yeah.
A couple of summers ago, and then it kind of disappeared. I would love to see, not that I want to live in a police state, but I would definitely love to see more officers on the ground. Before I came here, I'm trying to be, I have the gymnastics school right across the train tracks. So I'm trying to be a good neighbor. We're trying to come out a little bit. So we put our balloons up. We put some commercial balloons up. But one time somebody took them right out the office in broad daylight.
They destroyed it.
Before I came here, the other set, somebody just walked down the street and just took them. So, and then we get people who we put planters out. People are throwing trash in the planters. So I'm having to come out of my business and clean coffee cups and alcohol bottles and stuff because I have children coming in and they shouldn't have to walk through that. Now, you know, I would love to see even our junior police, if we have a junior PAL or something that we got, you know, the ROTC and then, you know, just some type of patrol or walkthrough that gives people, holds people accountable for their behavior in the downtown area, who are able to give citizen citations or something like that. And or we just need some outright boots on the ground because it's, when I talk about walkability, for me, being in a business downtown, I need to feel like, and I'm sure you have the same thing, it needs to feel like this is a destination. Coming to Fort City is like I'm going on a little mini vacation. I can walk around, I can park, I don't have to shift because I got this lovely establishment. But when I walk from my car to get to there, it's too much and it makes me not want to do it. So the walkability is really important and that includes security. So I don't know what, I know everybody's about taxes and this, that, and the other, but we definitely need some controls of people walking around downtown to take stock of what's happening. Otherwise, we're going to keep having that same apprehension from store owners about going outside of their doors to help with the beautification, to help with, making, attracting more people who want to not only just live in Orange, but also, experience the commercial district as well, and the parks and whatever. Definitely need more seating area outside in the downtown area as well.
Thanks for your comment. And this is regarding downtown commercial area, making it safe, making it walkable, and really holding people accountable. So there are a couple of items to address that very issue, and soon you'll be getting an invitation if you're in the Main Street business area. The police are going to be doing a presentation, basically on a master plan, how we intend to be more present in the downtown area. So that's going to come very soon. Bicycle unit's going to be increased. If you saw that, that's going to be increased. It was just in the summer. We're trying to stretch it out past the fall as well. And the other thing is, as you see, not the big PSC&G work that you see now, but some of the smaller trenches that you see being excavated throughout the town is for town-wide cameras. And part of our deployment of the cameras is having this meeting with the commercial entities to find out where we need to be most strategically placed. I don't know that we can cover every inch of the town, but we're trying to place it so that we can get as much coverage as we can. So that's going to be a big thing for us. And working with New Jersey Transit, who does have some camera ability, but to expand that so it takes care of some of our areas as well. The other thing that the police are going to present is out of the cars on Main Street and walking, but not just Main Street. If you go down Main Street, you might see some walking, but it needs to go off into the very spurs of Main Street as well. So they're putting together a plan for that. But that's going to be presented to all the business owners. And I'm thinking it's the first week in February that's going to happen. But it'll be well advertised as well.
Just to add to that, the specifics with respect to bikes. Bike squad is actually being doubled from 10 to 20. We ordered the new bikes probably a month ago, so they'll be ready for the spring. We have hired very recently 7 new special police officers. Special police officers don't have all of the powers of a police officer, but they can make arrests, and they'll be walking the downtown. And if you have a business in the downtown area and you have external security cameras and you would like to give us the IP addresses, we can tie those cameras into the city's citywide system so that we can monitor them.
Any drawback with doing that?
Pardon me?
Any drawback? Just IP, what does that mean?
You,
The dinosaur in the room, technologically, the dinosaur. I admit, Karen, I'm the dinosaur in the room. I just want him to explain the IP does not invade your business computer or anything like that.
correct. It's just access to the feed. That's all it is.
We have a question here.
I don't really have a question. I have a comment. My name is Samuel Stewart Jr. This is not really my thing until Councilwoman Wooten got me into it. The mayor got me into it. Orange is one of the sweetest cities that we have. It's 2.2 square miles. And I am an Orange tornado, graduated from Orange High. So I just appreciate what we're doing for this community because it gave me life to live back in this community. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir.
all of the things that we're talking about, if you look around at the other towns, you know, let's talk about walkability of Main Street. I walk Main Street, but where am I going? Where is there for me to sit? Where are there any plantings? We have got holes on the sidewalks in front of our historic library that nobody else in New Jersey has, and we got trees missing. I'm like, nothing's maintained. If we just look good, if we looked good, it would be better. We've got alleys where alleys could be planted. They could just be a little walkway, a bench to sit on, a gathering place. We have none of that. I have been from one end of Main Street to the other, and it's depressing because I can't stop anywhere unless there's a store that I'm going to. And the way the stores are set up and the way the aesthetics of it, it's horrible.
Can I just
And
jump?
we really should be on
Yeah,
that.
I'd want to jump in. Chris, just outline, if you would, so it's a plan to redo all of Main Street first. But we reached our bonding capacity and had to choose between doing streets throughout the town and Main Street. So we held off on it. But Chris has formulated a new budget for a Main Street project. And then please also discuss the military park upgrade.
So, about 2 years ago, we had designed a program for all of Main Street streetscape. And the budget was approximately $4.5 million. When the bids came in, the bids were $9.5 million. So because some people said it was because of the cost increase with COVID, et cetera. So we went back to the drawing board and we brought in an architect and given him a $6.5 to $7 million budget for a project design, which will incorporate 80% of what was incorporated in the original design with some changes in materials and costs. We expect that contract to be awarded to the architect within the first quarter of this year, and bids to go out by the end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter. The streetscape program is landscaping, it's paving, it's new sidewalks, it's new street poles, light poles, traffic fixtures, obviously paving and some infrastructure, new curbing, crosswalk materials. There's even in a certain area, there's debate about putting a small median strip to improve pedestrian friendliness and to prevent some of the more careless driving that we see with people doing U-turns and K-turns in the middle of Main Street. So that's a plan that we've been working on and that we now have a definitive schedule for, assuming that the numbers hold up. And if the numbers don't hold up, what we'll do this time is simply scale back certain elements in the bid. So we'll have bid alternatives and we'll knock out things to fit within the budget. The other part is the military park piece. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it also includes plantings, planter pots, a seamless design in terms of street fixtures like garbage cans, benches, planters, etc. The military park project is approximately $1.8 million redo of all of military park. It's a grant program. The design has been approved. That project will be commenced this spring. And we've met with the most recent delay was we wanted to meet with a veterans committee just to make sure that everyone was okay with how the monuments were going to end up, because there was some talk in the design of moving one of the monuments to give it a more prominent display area. But new landscaping, new street fixtures, new light poles, new benches, and a considerable amount of landscaping.
So before we do the next question, we have pizza here. And if you would like a beer on the mayor, just go. On the mayor.
Give me my credit card back. Give me my credit card back.
It's a big one.
So you're welcome to grab a slice of pizza and go up to the counter and get a beer. But we're gonna continue the conversation.
Okay, I just want to say something about military. No, I'm not.
So we have this, can we get Miss Howell?
Oh,
Miss
go ahead.
Brown, before we get-
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Laura Howell. I have been a resident of Orange for over 34 years. I live in Mountain View Avenue. I just want to comment how much I really love this town. My son passed away in 2013 and he wanted to be buried in Orange, not East Orange. He's buried in East Orange Cemetery. But he loved this town so much. And I remember when I was growing up, I grew up in the Irondown section of Newark. I remember I went to Arts High School. And I remember we used to come to murals. Yeah. It was considered the Tiffany's of Jewelry. I mean, it was, if you came to shop in Orange, everyone came to Short Hills and Millburn. This was the place. So it would be nice to see that happen again, for us to restore the town back to that greatness. And again, I agree with Karen about the consistency. If Main Street could have, like maybe those canopies that are consistent, so we have a look.
Signage, all that.
Signage disappear. There should be ordinances that you can't put stuff in the window, so we could look. It's very easy. These are just cosmetic things to make our town look better. And that library, my understanding, that library is historic.
I'm working on that.
I know you are. My understanding that the people who built that library collaborated with the people who built the library in New York City.
They built
Okay?
the first stadium.
Yes. I mean, that's how great, we have two buildings, the post office and that library. And it needs to be restored to its greatness, because art is what makes a town what its value. It brings the value up. Art is very important. Statues, please don't move the monument, because that's another thing. It may be historical. So,
It is.
yeah, so be careful what you do. And you need a historical planning board to help you understand the value, because art is everything. Every town that has art, that recognizes art, raises the value. I mean, we're paying the highest taxes in the whole country, so why not?
Why not?
Right? So let's restore our town, and thank you for doing a great job. And one of the things I must make note of, one of the things that brought, when my son passed away, we received a proclamation from the mayor. He was just elected, and I wanted to thank you for that, because it helped my family heal. So once again, this is a great town, great neighbors, great people. We want the best. Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. So don't be shy with the pizza
All right, military park.
and the brew.
You would put a timeline on the brew?
Yeah.
You got a-
Put a timeline on the brew.
I just want to say about military park, because our Main Street is better than anybody's. It's longer than anybody's in New Jersey, more historic, wider sidewalks, more historic buildings, whole nine. It's all there. But Military Park, which was an amazing place, when William Howard Taft was running for president of the United States, he spoke at our military park where we had a gazebo. Somebody could please put the gazebo back. I do appreciate that. And in that whole area, I don't know if people know this, but like the Bush family, George Bush family, you know where they're from? They're from Orange. Grace Episcopal Church, which is now Epiphany, James Bush, fallback, whatever, built that church, and that church is still there. And that's on the National Register of Historic Places. So many places along our Main Street, and we need to celebrate that. Right next to the library is where the largest brokerage firm on Wall Street right now, that's where it started. If you look up at the building, always look up on the second floor on our Main Street. That's where you see it. It says Brown. Brown who? Brown Brothers Harriman. Hello? The building is still there. When I first moved here, I went in there, the trading floor was still there. Restore that. If we just restore the outside, the Metcalf building, the Metcalfs, they were the biggest millionaires in America. What did they do? Metcalf Park, the Metcalf building. And what else did they do? They built Rhode Island School of Design. You can't get more history here. First Presbyterian Church is a Revolutionary War site. Hello? Go ahead.
I think
So-
you had, gentlemen.
Well, I got the history. I know it all.
Oh man, just another question too. Because I live on Highland Avenue, around the corner. Man.
There goes the neighbor.
And well, as you know, like of course with the cars right there on Highland and Berkeley, because we have the all those cars parked, and of course now with this new parking deck, it's going to alleviate a lot of those issues. So what I noticed that right there on that corner, that cars are creeping further and further out the middle of the street, and then you have a lot of speed demons, as I say, flying up and down the street of Highland Ave now. And I've been seeing a lot more accidents and things like that too over time as I'm cutting the grass and doing work, in my yard. What is there any plans in place? Because I'm seeing a lot more cars flying up and down the street.
Yeah, so this on Highland, and they're speeding even right there by the construction site.
Right.
One of the things that I'm leaning on the developers to do when they finish their construction is to pave the streets and to pave it with installed speed bumps to control the area. I think we'll be successful in getting that done at their cost instead of ours. On speed tables, yes. I'm trying to get them to go a little bit above Berkeley.
I have a suggestion, please.
Yes.
I was wondering if you would consider someone whose job it is to travel from one side of Main Street to round back up, rolling with the sweeper and whatnot, just to constantly keep, the store people, they don't send people out twice a day to clean up in front of their businesses. But we had an employee whose job it was to constantly keep and check that there's nothing in the planters. That's all they do.
The question was, can we have an employee whose basic responsibility is roving Main Street to make sure that it's clean? The Urban Enterprise Zone, which is a fund to fund downtown business activity, has been restored by the governor, and we intend to use part of it for an employee to do just that and the equipment. But secondly, our code enforcement people this year will be very aggressive about you as a business owner or a property owner going out the 2 times per day that we're supposed to do your cleaning and to have those monies. We're trying to get them designated into a fund so that we can employ an employee to do that, the second employee to do that as well. Yes.
That's not even my trash. That's somebody else's trash, or trash just appears in front of my door at night. It doesn't even belong to me. And it continuously happens. And there's no controls over people putting trash out. So, and a lot of this stuff is hazardous. So I understand about, trying to hold businesses accountable. But some of this stuff, I'm just not going to have my staff come out and touch.
Right.
It's
in your case, in a lot of cases like yours, it's not you, it's the landlord to whom you pay lease funds, who is that responsibility. And we've been in particular talks with certain landlords, you don't know who they are, about this very issue and about security as well.
You got a world-class gym over there. World-class.
We don't want to single her out on this particular topic.
We should be celebrating.
Any questions, issues, Peter? Yes, sir.
I had a couple of questions, but I'll start with one that's a little off. We've adjusted with the hospital being closed for, I don't know, gosh knows, almost 20 years. Will they ever be opening up any, like, say, care marts or smaller acu centers that in the area?
Yeah, the question is, we don't have the hospital anymore, and are we going to have any type of surgeries, acute care centers or drop-in centers? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Please don't discuss it in public, even as we go viral. There is an interest in a certain property in Orange to make it a medical care campus. It's an idea where you come in, regular doctor's visits, but it also includes a wellness component as well. I can tell you that it's in the North Ward, and at a certain point when the talks progress, which I expect to be soon, I'm going to need to have a group of us go to the institution that controls the property to buy into what we want to do. The hardest part is always to get the medical investment. We have that. The build out, that commitment we have. It's now up to the institution that controls this particular property, is where we're going to need help from the public. But it's an exciting plan. I've been briefed on it. I know the doctor well and worked with him and his team. It's going to be in the North Ward, but that's really all that I can tell you. But it's going to be an exciting project.
That's not gonna be the school there, is it? Come on now.
I can't tell you where the place is.
I'm gonna be out there.
I know you're talking about St. John's School.
Okay.
I know you're talking, but it's not. It's not part of that project.
Okay, cool.
Mayor,
I'm just this way. I'm just.
Does everyone know Karen well? Like I didn't pay her to be here.
Nobody's asked this question. This is a given. It's a given. It's so. Orange Hospital should be lofts and condos and high-end retail. End of story. The bricks on that building are worth millions.
I want to get to Orange Hospital because Chris has a report on it's minor litigation, so we have a report on the litigation and then a report on the rescue team and then the ultimate development. So I want him to give that 3-part report. But before we do, in case he leaves, M&T Bank is here speaking of free beer, M&T Bank is here by our invitation. And not only M&T Bank, but M&T Bank who deals with CRA, the Community Reinvestment Act. I just want to give a brief presentation on what CRA is, what the commitment is, and how he's going to help spearhead my effort to find out what the CRA plans are for every bank in Orange and to see how we can get them to fund some of our projects. So I'll ask M&T to come forward. He can either use the mic or his bank voice.
Want to thank, first of all, my name is Benjamin Kojo, and I'm the CRA Mortgage Sales Manager for New Jersey for M&T Bank. We actually have 2 branches here, and we're right around the corner on Main Street and Henry Street. I want to thank Councilwoman Wooten for setting up this community event, and I also want to thank Mayor Warren for inviting us. CRA is a congressional act of 1977. It's Community Reinvestment Act. Every bank or federally insured depositories have to invest in the community, including providing access to lending to low to moderate income communities. We at M&T Bank, we have fantastic products. I'm here with my partner in crime, Mr. Rudy Cazot, who is the branch manager of the Main Street branch. And what we want people to know is that, the bank has been around the corner. We don't have a lot of folks coming in. M&T has, free checking accounts for folks to get started. It only requires $25 to open a checking account, and it's no maintenance fee. But I'm pretty much here to talk more about our mortgage products. We do have first-time home buyer products, and I've been hearing everybody talk about the community. The city is beautiful. We want people to invest in the community. To invest in it, you should be a homeowner, because when you're a homeowner, you take care of the place and it improves it. And so as the mayor and the city invest in the Main Street, we also have to invest in the infrastructure, and that is through homeownership. So I think the feedback we've been getting is that most of our customers don't know that we offer mortgages, and it doesn't require you to put 20% down. We also are giving $7,500 towards closing costs, down payment and closing costs in Essex County, and most people are not aware of it. All you need is 3% down. I have a plethora of first-time homebuyer products for everyone, and in some cases, I can go as low as 580 credit score. So we want folks to come into the bank, reach out. We have grants. We work with other non-for-profits to provide grants. In the last couple of weeks, I've been able to secure a grant for $10,000. So I'm able to give about 17,500 to help first-time home buyers buy a home in the city of Orange. And again, where we believe in community. So it's not just about mortgages, it's holistic. We're gonna help you get that free checking account. We also have a financial advisor to help you manage your money until you figure out what you're gonna do with it. And if you choose to buy a house, we're gonna help you get that house and get a loan that you can also get a renovation loan. And again, in keeping with bringing up the city, renovate to make the city, help bring the city back to life. We want the people to invest in the city. And I've been here for the last 15 years, and what you will see is that the property prices have gone up. There are people coming from New York buying in the city. So we need the people that are here to wake up, take advantage of it, because they could have invested in it. Properties were 150, 200,000. Those properties don't exist anymore, and it's gonna continue to go up. So you guys, the residents here are in a great place. Where this area is like pretty much a suburb of New York, and as New York becomes occupied, the folks are gonna come here. So let's wake up. Again, we have 2 branches. Come in, see us. We have money. We have SBA loans for the business owners. You need to come in, come and see us. Rudy and myself, we're available, and we'll work with the city to ensure that folks have access to lending. Thank you for giving me the time.
M&T Bank. I invited them here specifically because the next phase of our housing development is home ownership, whether it be single-family homes, multifamily, or condo. Our thrust is in the next portion of our master plan, and that is for home ownership. And we can't do home ownership without banks and mortgages, but not just banks and mortgages, but for the kinds of grants that are necessary to get the money up front. So thank you, M&T Bank, for your interest in our community. Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to piggyback because what you said was tremendous, but the wake up part, that piece. How are we ensuring that we wake everybody up and that we get people involved? Because I know M&T Bank from Mr. Stammer from a long time ago, but I don't know about what has been happening in 15 years. I think I've been in Orange for 15 years now. So, you know what I'm saying? Like the information is key, is powerful. Getting people activated. We missed out on that market because people weren't really aware that they could participate. So how do we activate people? How do we keep? I love this. This is perfect. Having live engagement, but this is something that needs to like.
So the question is, how do we wake people up to let them know what the resources are that are out there, that they need to be drawn out? What are the companies doing? So I want to address that. I just want to get to your questions.
That's her question. So my name is Stacy, and I'm a real estate agent. I also know Ben very, very, very well, very closely. We've worked together. He's like helped me when I was purchasing my home. I'm from New York, and I purchased in Newark. I've been here 3 years, and I have a partner, and together we've put over 200 people in homes using first-time home buyers program through Ben, through another organization, using programs now. And to your point, right? Getting education, having platforms like this, and getting the education out on a consistent basis to people, because there's a lot of the stuff that Ben has introduced me to, right? I have the privilege of sharing that information with the people I know. But if you share the information and you share the information and we have the education that we can pass along, it will definitely empower more people to be in a position to purchase. And again, to your point, build the infrastructure of your city, because we can all complain about what's wrong, what's this, what's that. But if you're not being actively a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. I'm going to say one more thing. When I moved to Newark, right, and I live in a very beautiful part of Newark, but a part of that, because I have stake in where I live, I cleaned the block myself. I go outside and I pick up the dirt because this is my neighborhood, right? So when the value increases, so does my property value, and so on and so forth. So some of the solution is getting involved. You talked about on the ground. It starts with us. So get the education, share it, but also, take pride in your own city and don't wait for somebody else to clean it up for you. You live here. Clean it up.
Exactly.
Thank you for your commentary. And it was basically get involved and do the work. And that commentary is mostly for the people who are online or that are not here, they couldn't be here. Everybody needs to get involved. But I do want to commit us, Chris, to being the activator and to use our platform to bring various sectors together, whether it be banking, housing, whatever it is, technology, for us to start to use our platform to make things like this, not just gripe sessions, but for activity sessions where we can walk away with things to do. I've already tasked M&T Bank with a responsibility. I have put a big job onto Karen with our libraries. If we stay too long, I'm going to have Coach Iacariday on something as well. But it's really appointing people who are active to get tasks done, who have responsibility. And that's just a good, it's just apropos. You got to get involved yourself. So look out for things that we're going to be using the city's platform to get people involved on issues that affect our lives and our neighborhoods.
I just want to say one more thing.
Just.
No,
Karen Wells has one more thing to say. I agree with.
I'm a software engineer, so I have ways of looking at other things they've done. I have taken a peek at our new website. Fabulous, right? Please publish it. And on that.
Hold on one second. I don't think you said, we didn't all hear you. Karen Wells said that our website is what? Fabulous. There's your dinosaur mayor that put that together.
But if we can get the information out there like that, because I mean, people say, "Well, I don't know." Well, you know what? A lot of that's your own fault if you don't know. Right. Okay, you on Facebook all day, you on Candy Crush. Yeah, you can get on the city's website and find out what's going on. Okay, and that information can be disseminated everywhere. Okay, maybe some of the seniors can't, but there can be a data center in the senior building, and there can be somebody designated in there to get that information out. Technology is everything today, and artificial intelligence is going to be even the newer way. Oh, God. Believe me. No. I just wanted to share that this year it came to my attention that some of the I call them seasoned citizens are only getting together because someone has passed away. Therefore, I took an initiative to start a once a month, the last Wednesday of every month, 12 o'clock, Bella Italia, a Dutch lunch where you can come, fellowship, and at that lunch, I have people like you all talk about what's available so they can pass it on to their children, their grandchildren, so they know what's happening. I've had members from almost every department in the city, and I'm going to cover them all so that people know what's going on.
I just want to repeat that because it's very important. Shirley Hendricks, as you know, has been around for a couple of years. Even at 55, she's still going strong. But she has developed a program out of nowhere. Took no resources. Just went to the restaurant and said, I'm bringing you business every month. Dutch lunch. Each person pays for whatever they want to eat. A couple of times she had the mayor pay, but it still is the thing is to bring the people out to talk about ideas. She called me and said, I need to have your police, your fire, or your DPW, whoever you need. She calls, I need them there. They're there, and they do the presentation. She guides them along. People love it because they're getting information, and it's really more about the fellowship that they can do because that gets them in the mood to be proactive and to be involved. It's a very good program. Fourth Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month, Bella Italia restaurant. You go there at 12 o'clock. Be prepared to pay for your own lunch, but be prepared to get free information and resources that you can use to better the community. No, thank you for doing that. And I was happy to contribute, and will always contribute in whatever way possible, because I think that's necessary. Not that I have a choice, but yeah, I think that's necessary.
Yes, two beer orders. So if anyone else would like a beer and I didn't get your order, you're welcome to go to the counter. I just want to say, as council person, like I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy hearing what your concerns are. I have maybe 2 or 3 initiatives, and I would love for people to help me with those initiatives or to become involved with those initiatives. One of them is Juneteenth. I did the first annual Juneteenth event in Orange, so Juneteenth. Women's History Month is another initiative that I'm taking on. I have spoken to one from the high school. Not the high school, the elementary school. She is for the PTA or PTO. We're gonna get the schools involved in doing Valentine's cards for all the seniors in the city of Orange Township. And Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Andrea has a luncheon that she's doing on January 19th. That's the Office of Older Adults. See if we can get the mayor to become interested in doing an arts council, because I heard a lot about arts, and I think he had put that plan, that initiative, and I'm gonna hand the mic back to the mayor. But if you like a beer or brew, please come to the calendar.
I just want to get back to some current event stuff that we need to be watching out for. And one of them, I'm going to send an article out in a few days. It's on the foreclosure crisis, tax lien foreclosures. I've got a number of senior citizens and young homeowners who come and said, hey, I didn't know this lien was on my property, and now they're foreclosing on me. There's no notice, there's no procedure done. So I'm putting on an informational on that because this is happening too often in our community. And it's not necessarily the banks. There are investors that come out and they can pick up a water lien that you didn't. If you pay part of your water and you left off $200, that becomes a lien. Someone can purchase that lien and then foreclose it and own your property. That's happening far too often in our community. So I'm putting out an informational to stop that kind of thing from happening. Chris, as we go into the spring season, can you just give us some timelines on some of our developments that are happening and when our street paving will begin for the spring season?
We'll start in reverse. Street paving will begin in March. That's when the asphalt plants open. There are 10 initial streets that will be done, and then another 10 will be added as bids come in.
If I want to get on the list before we miss this, how do I get on the list for next time?
You would send an email to Marty Mays or myself with regard to the condition of your street. We'll have an engineer go out and check it and rate it against the other streets that are already on the list to determine when it gets done.
The streets, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Speaking of streets, there are a number of people who want to have stop signs or four-way stop signs and want to know the process for that.
Okay, with regard to whether or not you want stop signs, four-way stops, speed tables, you have to put that in writing, in an email, send it to myself and Marty Mays, and together we have the engineer go out and do an assessment. If necessary, we'll have a traffic study done. We have to do the research with regard to the number of accidents. It's not something that you can go to a city council meeting and say, hey, I want a speed bump on my street. There's a process that we have to go through. So if you send an email to myself, Marty Mays, my email for those of you who would like it is chartwyk@orangenj.gov. Send an email there. I'll make sure that it gets to the right people and that they get back to you.
And finally, permit parking for residents on that block.
If you want resident parking only on your block, You have to circulate a petition among your neighbors. You have to present that petition through your ward council person or at-large council person, and they will present it to the city council and the administration as an initiative that they would like to see go forward. And then we'll consider it, do whatever studies we need to do with regard to parking volume, accessibility, et cetera. And then the council will make an effort through legislation to change the parking requirements for that street.
And your development schedule, and then you're gonna open cranes soon. Sure.
So development schedules and projects that will be coming or commencing within the next few months. The Crane Street project right adjacent here to the train station, Crane Street will open this spring. That project will commence leasing in March. They will then flip over to their site on Lincoln and start construction on Lincoln. That's phase two. It's called DNR phase two. The Highland Avenue project, phase one, will continue. They'll start phase two this spring. The REOC project, phase three, will commence this spring. So South Day Street and REOC Street will have limited accessibility during that process. Phase four of REOC is currently in the planning stage. They have not been before the planning board yet. The project at 356 Washington Street will commence construction. They've already done all the site work. They have all of their approvals in hand. They need one redevelopment agreement from the city council. That project will commence this spring. The Elks project, you've probably seen that site has been cleared. All of the planning board approvals are in place. We don't have a construction commencement date for that project yet. We will, however, be much more on top of the commencement of these projects and the impacts that those projects will have on local traffic flow. And notifications will go out by constant contacts and by robocall so that people are aware of when street closures will take place and for how long.
Moving production, we've had an increase in applications and in implementations.
One thing you may have seen is an increase in filming crews throughout the city. We have become a fairly popular destination for filming for the New Jersey Motion Picture Council. We've had people film here for the show, television show, The Equalizer, several major motion pictures, some HBO programs. We have a filming crew that will be here next week. We have a, pardon me? Are they hiring extras? I don't know. I put my name in.
Looking at increasing fees for that.
Yes, we will be increasing fees for the filming permits so that we make a little bit more money. We don't want to get too caught up in the red tape. That's one of the reasons why we've become a popular destination is we've made it a relatively seamless process. We will be increasing the communication to the neighborhoods where those filming locations are taking place to make sure that we're on top of whatever impacts parking and otherwise may impact the neighbors. And we've made arrangements in many instances where parking is impacted to provide off-street parking at a local establishment or institution for the residents on the street if parking isn't permitted during the filming. So we're aware of those impacts, but we think it's a very good thing for Orange's exposure to be a destination for filming.
To speak to that point, I just want to let you know if you're not connected to our Facebook page or our Instagram, Athletic Arts Academy, NJ.com.
Let's see that louder.
Athletic Arts Academy.
Athletic Arts Academy.
And just Google that, Orange pops right up. We just started today a free live streaming and film production class for kids 10 through 16 We have, we're
Free live
free.
streaming production classes for young people between
The ages of 10
ages of 10
through 16.
through 16.
Yes. No, this is, this complete.
It's not restricted to Orange. Anybody that wants to come, they should contact who?
Yes.
Got my address.
Athletic Arts Academy right here in Orange.
Yes,
And the
yes.
classes are happening on the campus in Orange.
It's happening at our gym, and we have literally world-class media production, industry people who are coming in to teach our children how to use their cell phones properly, to create films about the gaming industry, from a financial perspective, about jobs, everything, and they're giving them hands-on. These people have resumes that include BET. They're doing national public, HBO. These are the behind the scenes people that have been in the industry for years. They're coming volunteering to come to Orange. I want to try to get them in. I told them you were going to be at our function on January 29th. I'm already in Miss Cheryl's inbox about it.
I'm obviously going to be there.
Um,
When is this happening?
January 29th, Sunday,
The
January
29th. Is that the event or is that kickoff of the classes?
This is, the classes started today, but we have room. It goes until June. We're doing it in 3 sessions.
Now, how often are the classes? Once a week?
Once a week.
What time is the
2
class?
hours, 10:30 to 12:30.
10:30 to 12:30
Yes.
for the next.
Education website, can you put it on there?
I will work with.
Hold on, let's get on this website. The classes are every Saturday
Yes.
between 10:30
And at 12:30.
and 12:30 for the next how many weeks?
Next 8, 16, 24 weeks.
For the next 24 weeks, so it's
Yes.
plenty of room to go in even next week,
Well,
and you're not going to be
right.
that far behind.
You're not going to be that far behind. And anyway, and so, and what my focus is, of course, is getting our children into the sports industry behind the camera and in front of the camera.
Here you go.
So, again, it's all about expanding and the capabilities and the opportunities for our youth, and giving them this incentive to be able to do what this gentleman is doing, to understand the features of his camera, how that works, so that when you have events like this, you can have students who come from this city, who know how to take, or know how to work cameras, who can produce things for you, who can interview you and do it properly. People who write the scripts, who do the wiring, the lighting, they're going to learn all of
Everything about media production.
Yes.
They come to the gym right here in Orange.
Right.
10:30
to 12:30.
to 12:30.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday comes the next 24 weeks.
Right.
I want to applaud that, because on the front side, the coach produces athletes. All these athletes have Olympic dreams. All of them want to go pro, but she's expanding their Olympics to be behind the camera in the Olympics, to be behind the pros in the Olympics, so they can still get there. Might not be on the high beam, but they'll still get there with the camera.
What I want people to understand is the dollar value behind the things that they are doing, because everybody is not going to make it to the Olympics. There's only 5 spots. There may soon only be 3. You got hundreds of thousands of kids who are competing for those roles. So what happens with the industry? Who's the manufacturer? Who's manufacturing the clothing? Who's hosting the events? Who's building the sites that these events are going to take place in? Who's the insurance agencies? Who's financing? Who are doing these things? So the idea is to take something that we utilize and understand. If you want to play basketball, you also need to understand what the business side of it at a very early age, and the gaming industry as well. These people today, I watched how the instructor, who is the CEO of worldclasslive.com, go check them out. You see, they are also partners with Fairleigh Dickinson University. So they work with professors. So these kids are going to be learning from professors, from FDU. I
want to get that again, just so we know what time it is. Every Saturday for the next 24 weeks, 10:30 to 12:30, at the gym right here in Orange on Saturdays. Children between 10 and 16, you can learn something, which is a skill and a trade that can get you $100,000 salary. No student loans, no college, just this skill that we're trying to teach now, and then the experience that you get. Please, everyone, can we clap it up for County Cameras? That's important. In continuing with the media, as this has become the small business section of our program, we do have our local newspaper here. Brother Ross, why don't you come on up, tell us who you are, how we get in contact with you. The reason that a lot of us became famous is because we had a young reporter on our side. Thank you, Brother Ross.
Thank you, Mayor Warren. My name is Javon Ross. I am the local reporter for the Record Transcript, the Irvington Herald, the West Orange Chronicle, the News Record, a lot of places, a lot of places. I wear a lot of hats. I'm currently working on a project with Superintendent Mr. Fitzhugh and Mayor Warren on a proposal for the Board of Education. So if anyone has any information, any grievances, any questions, comments, concerns, if you will have kids, which we see kids here today, please do feel free to email me. My email address is the letter J, Ross, ROSS, at thelocalsource.com. Feel free to email me there with anything that you want information on, any resources, any information you have available about
How do they get their stuff in the paper?
And the way you get your stuff in the paper is either you email me and you'll tell me you have a proposal for a story, or I will find out through my own contacts, and obviously I've contacted with Councilman Wooten and Mayor Warren, so I will be alerted on pretty much every event throughout the city. But if you have any proposed event, email me, and then we'll see if we can get you in the paper.
But that's eRoss at localtalk.com?
Thelocalsource.com, and it's J Ross, the letter
J Ross, JROSS at
The Local Source.
The Local Source, THELOCALSOURCE. J Ross at The Local Source.
I'm sorry, you were saying it earlier, I missed, I'm sorry, I missed, but you were saying, what is it that you're working with the school district to do?
Group proposal with Mayor Warren and Secretary I keep saying Secretary, Superintendent Fitzhugh to have a group project for the Board of Education. And I am heading that writing process.
Journalism?
Yes.
Okay.
So when you were talking about sports and getting behind the camera, I also wanted to ask if there was any plan to have political discussions or news discussions behind the camera as well, because local newspapers really would like that as well. Okay.
I used to write a column with a paper, and I want to talk to someone about perhaps
Talk to J. Ross.
revisiting that.
Thank you, Brother. Yes. He's your big hand, the Local Source. Brother Ross is here. E&B Hauling, are they still here?
Yes.
There's a company that services us locally, E&B Hauling, owned by one of our local people. And one of the things I talked to him about was spring cleaning comes up every year, and we try to get in touch with him as early as possible, and to see not only for commercial businesses, which he'll do discounts for, but what does it look like if an entire block had a spring cleaning program on their block? Could they get a dumpster there? What kind of discount would it be? And what kind of contribution could we make? So I want E&B Hauling to come talk about what they do and their contribution to the community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman, Mr. Hartwyk. My name is Elmon Tucker. I own and operate E&B Hauling Services. Just want to say thank you to the administration for having us out here. The services that we offer, starting off with the dumpsters, if you guys were to do a block cleanup, part of the spring cleaning program, I would recommend probably a 40-yard container that could accommodate all the extra furniture and stuff that you want to throw out.
I don't think you heard that part. You got to speak up. Can we all hear him?
I'm sorry. Can you the 40-yard, maybe we can put a 40-yard, depending on the size. Everybody would probably be limited to a certain amount so we can accommodate everybody. But most definitely, we can offer a discount so everybody can get cleaned up and the properties are looking better for the spring Also for commercial, businesses, we have the 2 yards. I also have brought some business cards. I'll get some more.
He'll pass this around.
I'm gonna just leave them here. And,
You can't leave them all to her. She'll.
we'll have some more for you guys. But yes, we definitely would offer discounts for the residents of East Orange. For the commercial, for small businesses, we have the 2 yards all the way up to 10 yards to accommodate restaurants, any type of commercial businesses as well. Just make sure that you guys mention that you're part of the Orange Cleanup Initiative that the mayor recommends for the spring cleanup, so that way we know exactly who you are and where it's coming from, so you can have your discounts. And also for
They
seniors.
can't send a bucket down to their friends in different towns and all that. But that's
No. Yeah. Yes.
That's what it's all about.
When you guys make the request through the administration, we'll set up with proper permits and the way the dumpster and how long it's gonna be, and a safe spot is not obstructing traffic or anything of that nature. Okay, question?
Any things that are absolutely restricted that cannot be thrown into there?
Yes, hazardous materials, oils are not, are no, lead paint, tires, and no stones in dirt, please, because, that is considered.
You can't redo your backyard and throw all the stuff in your bucket.
Furniture, if you have, old mattress, we put that out. Sometimes an old dresser, things like that nature, chairs and stuff like that. Go ahead.
I'll take it. Please give a big round of applause to E&B Hauling. All of us will get the information about the spring cleaning programs. You know all the parameters. You'll be able to contact them. You'll let us know. There'll be a central registry. You say you're going to do it on your block, and everything will be supplied for you.
Put it on the new website.
It will be on the new website. Speaking of which, Christopher, we're having a soft launch of the website when?
Monday.
Monday coming. There'll be a soft launch of the website. It won't be final then. The soft launch means that you'll get to review it, criticize it, give us your commentary so we can make it the best that it can be. I want to bring up a couple more people before we all leave because they have important impacts. Our court administrator is here, James Boss, and is going to come up and he'll just let you know generally about the courts, any issues. That's a place where you go to pay tickets and you're, don't throw tomatoes at him. James Boss, just give us an overview of the courts, when you're open, where you're located. If I have warrants out for my arrest, where I can come get information without having to go to jail on that day.
Hello, everybody, and I thank the mayor for bringing me out. No one likes the court, but we're at 29 Park Street and we're open. Everything is through Zoom. But what I will say is that because of the being the mayor, we have cell phones. So I'm going to give everybody my cell phone number. But you have a ticket, you have a warrant, is there any issues, you can come up, call me. The other thing about the court is anybody knows we have an incredible mentorship program. We have students as far as Canada, high school, college, or students that have graduated college. Judge Hackett, Judge Hassan, Judge Corbett, they come in, we mentor them, we give them a letter for class, or we give them a letter for work. We also have, we're working with the state. We have, I have maybe over 30, 40 job listings. State has asked Orange to help them find employees. Requirements differ, but if you know any young person, old person, middle-aged person that's looking to work in the court system, just come up, ask for me, I'll give you the package. If you have a student that wants to work at the court, they can come up and ask for me. Anybody have any tickets or get arrested, you can call. I'll help you to the extent that I'll get you in front of the judge, but that's it.
You can't get rid of their tickets.
I can get them in front of the judge.
You can't reduce the price.
I can get them in front of the judge.
That's all you can do is get them to the court.
Yes.
They are your own after that.
And I mean, everybody has idle time, but we have some really interesting cases coming up. If anybody wants to Zoom in or come in, because you see code enforcement, they write the summonses, but it all ends at our courthouse. We have some really interesting cases coming up. If anybody wanted to Zoom in, right? Or if you want, you can come in and sit in the back.
Can we find out if there's a particular bad property on our block or that we're concerned about? call you and say, hey, is there any activity regarding this particular property?
Yes, I would give you the court date, or if they were fined, I would give you what the fine was. I would give you what the upcoming court date is, and you can zoom in. And you can zoom in and you can ask the judge questions as the case is progressing. Yes.
Will we put this on the new website? Thank you.
Yes. All of this information will go on the new website. In fact, this particular film is on the new website. But I do want to, when we have resources, to point them out. I want our fire chief to run up real quickly just to say hello, introduce what he's doing there. Chief Brown, coming up, are we doing any installation of smoke detectors? Are we doing fire inspections and so forth?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor, Councilwoman Large, and Chris. How's everyone this afternoon? First update, while it's fresh on my mind, we have a new EMS service providing service for us. That'll be the University Hospital. They've taken care of, taken the place of St. Clair's. St. Clair's did a wonderful job for us for 3 years, and now we have DMJ. We're looking forward to them. Inspections are coming up for us. We are always aggressively doing inspections. They will be happening year round. As far as the installation of smoke detectors, that is a process that will be starting. You can come by, you can set up. If you need a smoke detector set up in your home, that's in conjunction with Red Cross, which supplies us with the smoke detector. So stop by. We're at 419 Central Avenue. Stop in our Fire Prevention Bureau, sign an application, and we'll definitely come out and install a smoke detector in your home. We do not have CO detectors, but we do have smoke detectors. And in your homes, you want to have a combination, smoke and CO, 10-year with a lithium battery. So with that being said, we are always here for you at the Orange Fire Department to support you on the fire side. Whatever you may need, always stop by. I'm always there. And feel free to come in and see that establishment over there. So stay safe, everyone. Yes.
Do you have a, I guess, an auxiliary or fire education? I know one of the things when I had my child care is that we used to have the fire department would come around and talk to the kids, you know, about they would be able to see the truck and they would talk to questions and stuff about fire safety.
The issue is whether or not the fire department is available to schools, daycare centers, and so forth with the trucks, and we have some characters. But also, please mention the Public Safety Junior Academy.
So this coming summer, we do have the Junior Public Safety Academy. Hopefully, we'll be able to increase it by a couple of weeks. It is a great program for the youth experiencing police and fire. We do have programs coming out to daycares and all the schools with education about fire prevention and whatever they need to know, and even getting to the high schools and to the schools, talking to children about maybe becoming a future fireman or policeman or lawyer or anything like that. But those programs are year round for us. Stop into our office, come and see me, and we'll set something up.
Last thing, I need to get a fundraiser going where we have the police department and the fire department compete against each other in a fitness challenge to raise funds for our school. Listen, I see you guys.
Can we do it at your gym?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the place. Please.
I told you before we left, some of you put to work. This new committee headed by the coach will put together the little Olympic style at your gym. Oh, good. I'll stand by and coach. Thank you, coach. Lastly, I do want to bring up the guru of baseball in the city of Orange Township. Wally Boyette is coached from very little league at 5 years old all the way up to high school. But his coaching requires more than just proficiency in baseball, but discipline and lifelong learning as well. Coach Wally Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor said, I've been coaching baseball, and I've been running baseball organizations here in Orange for at least 25 years. I currently coach the Monty Urban Giants, which some of you may have heard of. We're a travel baseball program. We run from ages 13 to 18, 19. We have an annual tournament that we have in Orange.
When do we sign up? Your sign up period.
Sign up period for that program starts about June 1st because it's a summer travel program. And we do have a tournament in Orange. We've been doing the tournament in Orange for 8+ years. We bring teams from out of town. Last year, we brought teams from Brooklyn. We had Queens, Philly, Camden. Those teams come to Orange and compete for the Monte Urban Championship. Um, I'm also the high school baseball coach for Orange High School, but I just resigned that position because I want to go back and work with the city to help the city build their program uh, for the youth, ages, feeder program for the high school, ages 5, 6, up to 12, 13. So what I want to do with that program is I want to connect with the community because baseball is a community event. So I want to connect with the community. I want to get families involved and hopefully grow that program so that it's not only a feeder program for the high school, but it provides great opportunities for families in Orange. So that's what I do. That's what I've been doing, and I'll continue to do that. And I'm really excited now to be working back with the city again to help build that program and help our youth go forward. I'd just like to make one more comment. Lady right here, I don't know your name.
Coach Carroll.
Okay, but I love what you're doing with the youth uh, in terms of providing opportunities behind the scenes. That's something that we've done with the Mighty Urban Giants since 2008. We provide opportunities on the field, but we also assist with the education, and we also assist with career development, which is opportunities off the field, cameramen, trainers, that sort of thing. So I'd love to talk to you more about that because I like to get some of your students involved with what we're doing with the baseball program in the community.
Excellent. Volleyball, yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Website.
That will be on the new website. Yes.
That's the new hashtag.
I want to get Bridget. Bridget, make your way up. As I get Ms. Hendricks, yes.
Oh, the Big A, is he gonna be here? I have a question.
Oh, yeah, he's not leaving yet. Yes, yes. Bridget, come on up. I just called you out of the blue. You have a nonprofit, you help people that are disadvantaged, but you also do other things. One of the questions that we received online was about homelessness and whether or not there are any resources. Certainly, we're going to work with Bridget to make those things happen. We just talked about a delivery to your nonprofit. But tell us who you are and what you're doing here.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I'm Bridget Favor, and I do have a nonprofit, Tender Loving Touch, which provides essentials, daily essentials and things that we need on a daily basis to people who are unhoused, who are at risk. And that number, of course, has grown exponentially throughout the county and even in our city, even though sometimes they may not be seen, the hidden homeless. My friend also over here, Starisha Ship, has an organization as well that helps the community. But, and we're going to be working, I have been working more closely with East Orange, but we're right next door. And I've been working with Epiphany and other organizations in Orange for years. And I'd like to get more involved here in Orange. But when we're speaking about all these opportunities for young people today, I couldn't let this chance pass to talk about my other hat. I'm the assistant director of the ACE Academy in Newark. But it's in Newark. So what it is OBAP is the Organization of Black Aviation Professionals. And OBAP sponsors these academies across the country and the territories every summer. It's a week long. And it introduces our children to different professions within aviation, pilots, air traffic controllers, maintenance, flight attendants, which I have been for 25 years. But we introduce the children to these careers that they never would have known about, and it's right in our backyard, right there in our backyard. And these children get an opportunity to learn what it is about aviation, about aircraft, how to operate them. They get taught by pilots who look like them. They get an opportunity to have a discovery flight, and actually some of them get to control the aircraft and go up right here in our backyard. They get a tour of the airport. When I go with the academy, I see parts of the airport I've never seen in 25 years. They get to go to the maintenance hangar, touch the engines, get to know that these jobs are available for each and every one of them jobs we never would have dreamed of. Had someone not said to my mother, hey, maybe Bridget should think about being a flight attendant, it never would have occurred to me. And now my little sister is now determined she's going to be a pilot because she's been exposed to this academy. Now, I wanted to tell you because this academy starts applications February 1st. That's when the application process opens.
February 1st, what year?
February 1st, every year, but to February 1st, 2023. The website will go live for applications. We take 25 students each year. This is not camp. It's an academy. They'll be learning. And before you know it, I mean, they learn so many things and exposes them. And there are so many opportunities. We have captains, female, male, African American, right here. And we don't want these careers we don't want us to be in awe of the few. There really aren't few, there are very many. We just don't know. And so we're exposing these children to the opportunity, telling them it's possible, putting them on the pathway to get these careers, connecting them with mentors, bringing them back every year, and, if I may say, connecting them also with opportunities to get their pilot license right in East Orange at the Eagle Flight Squadron Academy. So,
Name of your organization again?
the organization is OBAP, Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals. It's the ACE Academy. Newark's Academy will be taking applications starting February 1st. It's $100. If you cannot make that, there are opportunities to get that subsidized. So the academy is going to be July 24th through the 28th of this year. We'll be accepting applications again starting February 1st. And I'm telling you, these children get opportunities and exposure that many of us could never dream of. And when we have 25 brown children and they all say, I'm gonna go get me a $500,000 career that I never would have thought of, and it's right in my backyard, I feel like we've won. So I wanted to share that.
How do I get that website?
It's obap.org, OBAP, OBAP, Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals. Look for the ACE Academy, and there, again, scroll down to Newark. February 1st, you can start putting in your application. I look forward to seeing a classroom full of our children and just showing them in 1 week a path to completely change their lives.
Wow.
Put the link to that.
Thank you. That will be on the website. That will be on the website. It's the ACE Academy. It's part of the Organization of Black Aviation Professionals. Their academy applications will open up on February 1st. If you go to that website, you'll see it. Look for ACE Academy. 25 people. So bring your best application. There are $100 application fee that could be subsidized if you request it. So do it early. February 1st is now, right? That's next week.
It's pretty much next week. And the ages are, I'm sorry, not to snatch that back, but the ages are from age 14 to 18. Wait, ages 14 to 18. And it's every year. And if you're interested, the Eagle Flight Academy will allow your child to learn and become a pilot. There is a one-time fee that they pay when they're joined. They can join as early as 12 years old.
Wow.
And then that fee, one-time fee, lasts until they graduate high school. So however long it takes them to get that pilot license, you can pay $100 a month until the $1,000 is paid off. And then that lasts the entire time until your child gets a pilot's license.
Mayor.
Wow.
We need a committee to help these kids be able to write winning applications to come from Orange, winning applications, and we need the business community to be able to help sponsor kids are going to qualify and make it so that they can finish the program. I'm with you on that.
Right, so put a
The
tab
thing
on the
I say most
website,
about this
opportunities.
is that so many of our children aren't even aware. And so what happens is we have children from outside of our community come and take advantage of the spaces that are available. And so I really want our children to get these opportunities, because once you know, you can't unknow. Once you're exposed, it makes an impact.
Put a tab on the website.
Please give a big hand for Sister Bridget. Spoken like a true flight attendant. Thank you. Thank you. That program is very important, and I'm going to confer with the superintendent of schools and our STEM school to make sure this opportunity is available and that we assist our children in any way we can to make sure we take advantage of that opportunity. Madam Councilwoman at Large, Adrian Wooten. Please give her another round of applause.
Yes.
I'm going to turn the mic over to her as we close out our program. But we'll be around. Please hang out. We've exhausted our brew count, I hope, Adrian. But please hang out, have some brews. This is where we do it with a kick.
This is a
Councilwoman Adrian Wooten.
So I just want to say
Excellent idea. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone that came out this morning, this afternoon. I'm sorry. This afternoon. It's a pleasure to meet and speak to some of you that I've never spoken to before. We will have another coffee conversations in February, but we're going to have a series of interest meetings. So please look out for those interest meetings on the web, especially things concerning you. Like we're going to do an interest meeting with parking. We're going to do something with parks. I think the mayor's going to do something with art, and I think he's going to do something with enlightening people about your tax liens, like what they are, how they happen, how you get rid of them. They're not coming to take your house, like those various things. But once again, I just want to say thank you so much. I want to say thank you to BA Hartwyk, who answers my call all times day or night. He is amazing. I also want to say thank you to my mayor, who I bug him too, and he answers my calls as well. So I don't have.
Our health department is here.
Our health department is here, Stephanie Coley. Want to remind you about the rabies clinic on the 21st. Did the mayor say that at City Hall from 12 to
Put all that on the
10 to
website.
12? We will. And also, I want to remind you, if you have pets, which I do, everyone who watches the council meeting has seen Gideon. I got to pay for his pet license, and those are due in January as well. And we have parking permits, and the mayor mentioned those were due January the 1st. So if you don't have your parking permit for your street, you're late. I'm late. So is there a grace period?
Till the end of the month.
Without any pressure, there's a grace period to the end of the month for your parking permits. Please come into City Hall. It's on the 3rd floor. Go sign up, pay whatever fee it is, and get it moving. There's a grace period until the end of January. If you get tickets in the meantime, we're going to coordinate with the municipal court to let them know that this grace period is in effect as well. The vice president of our planning board is here with her trustee assistant. Jones, thank you for being here. I want to close out with information about the mayor's hotline. Stacy, are you here? Stacy is working there for her head cover, but she works very hard day and night at our food pantry to make sure we get everything that we need. But Stacey, would you please give us the number to the hotline? Because there were some questions online about how we get in touch with people. Remember, you can always get in touch with the mayor. If I don't answer, text me at 862-373-0025. I always get back. But if you try to reach employees on their cell phone and you don't get answers, you can always call that number, 862-373-0025, which is my number. And then you can always get the mayor's hotline number, which is woman 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by Stacy. And that mayor's hotline number is
973-280-1621. 973-280-1621, and my phone is on 24/7.
I can attest to that.
24/7. Stacy does an outstanding job. Once again, if you want something talked about, I am your person as a man, but if you want something done, get the women to do it. Thank you. We're signing out.
Wow.